Welcome to the premiere episode today of Teachers Talk Live. We are starting off anew. We are rebuilding this show into well, I've learned a lot from it. I've learned through the 9 episodes that we have done in the past. We have learned a lot, and my guests here have been on the previous shows, and they get to be on the premiere episode and we get to talk all about it. So thank you for being on.
Welcome to Teacher Talk Live with your host, Oscar Staten, and featuring our distinguished guests.
Welcome our panelists. Let's begin with Carrie. Carrie, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade special education teacher at a middle school in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, Illinois.
Nice. And Kevin?
Hi, good evening. My name is Kevin Sullivan. I'm actually a former teacher and administrator. I was in the public sector for approximately 20 years. As of June, I've stepped away, and I'm now as the academic or educational advisor for Field Trip Zoom, which is a company that delivers live and interactive field trips for classrooms in their classroom setting using video conferencing and setting up content level experts from around the world to your classroom every single day. I'm actually very happy. This is my 3rd time I'm here with Oscar on Teacher Talk Live, and every single time it's been a wonderful experience.
Agreed.
Nice, appreciate it. Thank you. And then we go to Megan.
Hey, so I'm Megan Everett, and I will be teaching 3rd grade this year in the Gulf Coast region of Alabama, among some other stuff that I'm sure we'll get into.
Nice, very cool. So this episode is called All About Me. So basically what has happened is that we have made a transition into basically a new program, so that we can get away with calling it episode 1 all over again. So this is the intro to Teachers Talk Live, and what the purpose of this show, I want to talk a little bit about the purpose of this show, because my idea has been to bring teachers together in a format that's positive and at the same time gets that conversation going, frank conversations, in which teachers can work out and find the best solutions possible in a realistic setting. Because I try to bring in as many educators as I can and different levels of expertise as I can to each topic, so that we can have a well-rounded discussion and everyone on the same playing field. So, what has you guys? Who wants to chime in? Your experience with the program, and what do you think of it?
As a former administrator, Oscar, I think it's absolutely wonderful to have a forum of basically a virtual PLC for teachers to have a discussion about what they're learning, what is out there, all of the situations that they can be in. It's a phenomenal experience for all teachers, especially new teachers that are new to teaching, and it gives them that worldwide or kind of coast-to-coast experience of what other teachers are feeling and experience on a day-to-day basis.
Right, thank you. I really do. I really do try to merge. The really wonderful thing about this program is that I can bring together people from all walks of life and all over the nation, and even worldwide. In one episode we had someone from England on here, and it was really cool to hear that experience. Anyone else want to jump in? Carrie?
Oh, I think anytime that we get to connect face-to-face with people from all over, I mean, I never would have met Megan if it wasn't for this show, and she's all the way in Alabama, and I'm in Chicago. So it gives us an opportunity to hear different voices and connect with different people, and just hear different expertise and what other parts of the country are doing and different philosophies. It's just a really nice place, a resource to come, and I think you have a wide variety of teachers, so we get to hear different voices. It's not always the same people on.
Right.
Maybe not even who we might consider if we're active on Twitter. It might be voices that we might not consider to be like the louder voices. So right. You're giving everybody an opportunity to speak, and that those voices can be as valuable as the ones that we hear a lot from.
Right, and you've hit on an important point that I thank you for bringing it up. I really want this community to be able to be accessible to everyone, not just the really tech-savvy people, even the people that are not on Twitter, because then we bring exposure to their expertise and what they can do, even if they might not be in the Twitter sphere. So and Megan, what about your experience?
Yeah, so it's been varied. It's been, we've had some smaller groups when I've been on, and we had a much larger group when I've been on, and so I think that it's really interesting to talk with these different people, and I really like what Carrie said about it's not the same people that are like these mega superstars. These are real teachers in real classrooms, feet on the ground every day. And I think that's what makes it a really powerful conversation to be a part of. And it's definitely what I've enjoyed getting out of it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's really important to me, that we can have expertise from all over the place. We can have people that I really enjoyed having a teacher that was just 1 year out of teaching. I thought that was wonderful because we get a different perspective from that person. I also enjoyed having the second teacher and then the veteran teacher. I think a mix of all that is really powerful and brings a lot to the table. So yeah. Let's see. Let's continue and let me see. Let's talk about show ideas. Let's talk about show ideas because the one thing that I have done is rebuild the show and gained a lot of experience as far as the topics that people want to know about. The real stuff that's going to contribute to education, so that we can have that. So coming up, here are some of the ideas that I have for shows and what I would like from you guys to let me know what you think of them and what ideas you might have to bring to the table to add to the future shows, because my purpose here is that this show will continue, and we're launching it as a podcast. So this is episode 1 of Teachers Talk Live, the podcast. Yay! So social media in schools is one of the episodes that's coming up. I think that's a really cool. It's a really cool topic because teachers are using a lot of social media nowadays. I know there's a lot of Pinterest experts out there. And I want to talk about what Facebook brings to the table as far as in education. I want to talk about definitely what Twitter brings to the conversation, because I want more teachers to find out and know about what Twitter is really doing to the teaching communities. So I want to expose them to that. Another episode that we're doing is bullying. So bullying in elementary school. Well, no, bullying. I wanted to do first bullying in elementary schools, but I think I'm going to do it bullying school-wide, and have a topic around that and a conversation about that. We're working on bringing a couple of middle school students probably as well to join the panel for firsthand experience of bullying in schools. So we have that coming up. Then we have bilingual education. I want to do a show about bilingual education and English language learners in the U.S. Yesterday we talked about teacher shortage, and that's a topic near and dear to my heart because I've been a bilingual educator for all these years. After school programs in low socioeconomic neighborhoods, I think that's an important topic to bring up, and what success stories in after school programs and how they're influencing the classroom and all that. Parenting, I want to do a show on parenting and in minority homes, in mainly Hispanic homes and African American homes, like how that looks in relation to the school environment. And of course, we had such fun and such success with Teacher Win this summer, where we celebrated the successes of teachers, and I want to do that again because I think that's so much fun. So, what do you guys think of that list so far? Let's go to Carrie.
I think that sounds wonderful. It's it's definitely a perspective that I don't often that I often am not exposed to. Some of the English as a second language, and then the after-school programs and things. I think that will be that will hit a different audience than maybe some other educators are used to hearing from.
Yeah.
At least in my perspective.
Good. Go ahead, Kevin.
I think the social media piece is going to be excellent for teachers, but one thing that you could do is prior to going on that is have some of your experienced educators that have been out there in social media bring one of their friends aboard and listen and watch one of these programs, because many teachers do not or have not experienced what is out there in forums like this and forums like Twitter. As a principal, I always try to kind of show my teachers what's out there and what they can do and what they can see, but lots of times they're afraid. So one piece that I would actually tie in as well, and one topic you didn't talk about, was mentoring and coaching, which is so valuable, and it ties into a lot of what you talked about in your last with teacher shortage and losing of teachers. The more we mentor teachers and the more we coach them, the better apt they're going to be to stay in the position. And a lot of the times when they see the social media aspect, they're going to see that they have more support, because many times teachers feel very isolated in their classroom and they feel like their own little island. And when they can see that there's support not only of their peers of the classroom next door, but outside and externally in social media that can help support them, I think that's a fabulous avenue for trying to really get that support and kind of piggyback on the idea of getting rid of that teacher shortage and keeping them in those classrooms.
That's a great point. The idea of mentoring and coaching and what that looks like, and how we can how that can best be applied. So yeah, that's a good idea. That's awesome. Any other show ideas, Carrie, Megan?
So I think that homework is a real big issue. I think people love it, they hate it, they have a lot of ideas about how it should be addressed. There's tons of different rules on what is or isn't allowed. So anytime that's been brought up in a chat, it's kind of taken off. I think the mentoring aspect was a great idea. I also think teachers being advocates for the profession, teacher advocacy, and how you can do that from the classroom in your own role, how you can get involved in some of those things, especially with like ESEA being reauthorized and all those kinds of things. Teachers, it's so often we find out about those things after the fact and we get really fired up about these different rules that come down. So how do you go about making those changes, or where can you get in the process? Because teacher voice is really needed, but I think it's kind of mystifying to a lot of teachers how they go about it and actually get heard.
Right. And Megan, I want to ask you about that, about teacher advocacy, because and I know which aspect of teacher advocacy you're talking about, but in general, that could be controversial, because there's certain aspects of advocacy that don't always go along with the actual school or school district. So how do you see addressing that? I agree that it's a very important topic, and I think teachers need to be heard. They need to have a voice. But how do we do it? How do we do it in a way that that doesn't leave them feeling vulnerable or afraid of any backlash?
Well, I think there's advocacy that you think about in a very political sense of I'm supporting these bills, I'm not supporting these bills, kind of taking sides and that kind of thing. But then there's advocacy for the profession as a whole.
Right.
I'm thinking more of like the Gates Foundation ESET 2, which is Elevating and Celebrating Effective Teachers in Teaching. And they seek to just have more teachers talking, even just outside of their classroom, convening, saying teachers, not just saying teachers are great, because that's great, but it's fluffy, you know, but giving them some avenues. Like, you want to talk leadership? Here's some things you could really do. You want to bring legislators into your school, and it doesn't have to be a political thing so much as making those connections with businesses or people in the community or whatever it is. So it's just one of those things, like, we complain about the negativity sometimes that's out there, like on TV and bashing of teachers and schools and that kind of stuff. So being an education advocate doesn't have to mean that you're going against the grain of what your district wants to do, but it's just talking and being vocal and being seen outside of your classroom and kind of empowering teachers to do that.
Right. Good points. Anyone else want to add to that?
Well, I just want to kind of spin into a little bit of a different direction on that, and is part of the voice piece is how do teachers speak to not only their own peers but to parents, to administrators, and having difficult conversations, because so many times teachers kind of get caught up in the moment of what is going on and how to have a conversation with the parent, how to have a conversation with an administrator, how to have a conversation via email, how can they get caught up in like a Facebook chat. So all of the safeguards that teachers can do and how to kind of prepare themselves for those difficult conversations be another excellent topic for discussions, because many times teachers come to each other and try to talk to each other to figure out what they can do and how they can get through those difficult conversations, especially with so many different pieces of media coming at them. With long gone are the days of having a conversation at the end of the school day. You're getting instant messages, you're getting emails, you're getting Twitters, you're getting all kinds of different pieces that are coming at you. So how do you as a teacher handle all those different avenues?
Right.
I think that's a big deal for people when they're transitioning from teacher into admin roles too. There's different kinds of difficult conversations they have to have at that point that maybe they haven't had to have before, especially if you're going into any kind of coaching, where it's one thing to have that conversation with a kid, it's another thing to have that conversation with a coworker or a teacher in the school or another adult.
So maybe what does a coach-teacher relationship look like, and how are those conversations handled? As one example. Oh, you're mute.
Yeah, and maybe that fits better into a mentoring topic on that end, you know? And then maybe the conversations about how are you handling parents, and how are you responding via email, and how are you addressing things on Facebook so you're not in some sort of fight online, would be its own difficult conversations topic.
Right. Yeah. I see. Cool. Okay. So, Carrie, anything else that you want to add to this before we continue? I'm going to go ahead and share the screen at this point because I want to show you, well, I just want to mention the former episodes that we've done to just sort of reminisce. We did a show on special education that was really powerful. I definitely want to bring some new guests to reopen the issue sometime in December maybe, or January, in the middle of the school year. Let me see, Summer Slide was awesome, where we talked about, and you guys were involved in that, Megan and Carrie were involved in Summer Slide, I believe, where we talked about the ways to engage the students and ways to engage while the summer off, and reflection. So we did a reflections episode. We did a really cool one on getting published, teachers getting published. So there was a lot of good ideas on that. And a topical one was episode 7 on Get a Fresh Start. So that's all about starting off the year correctly. So a lot of us are about to do that right now. Some of us have already begun. And teacher tech, so all about teacher tech, and I definitely want to explore that further. So those are some of the episodes that we have done in the past, and I think that coming up we have some pretty exciting stuff. And I really want to make this. I guess the point I want to make to you, everyone that's watching out there, is that I want to make this an open community where we get to talk freely and make education better, because that's I think that's what anyone that's in education is what they're looking to do. So with that said, enough about me. Enough about Teachers Talk Live. Please watch it Wednesdays at 7. So right now I want to take the time to explore what our panelists are doing. So Megan, tell us what's going on with you. Are you excited about the school year?
I'm excited. I'm a little overwhelmed today, but we teachers went back to school this week. Kids will start on Monday, so that's always a very busy time with lots and lots to do and get done and prepared, especially changing classrooms and grades. So I'm very excited about that. I'll be in a one-to-one MacBook room this year, in a full inclusion room. So I have a very wide variety of ability levels. So that'll be exciting.
What's the student-teacher ratio?
We actually added a unit this year to third grade. So right now we're at about 17 kids.
Oh, that's nice.
No, it's excellent. That's the smallest class I've had probably ever. That's not to say more won't register, but for right now, that's very doable. We have a teacher that'll be on maternity leave soon, and they've decided to split her class among us, so I'll get 2 kids for a while, but that'll be good. So, no, that's exciting. I have some big things going on this year. I'm blogging for Scholastic again.
Nice.
We have started doing monthly Twitter chats with them. We had our first one last night. They're the first Tuesday of every month.
Yay. What's the hashtag?
Hashtag top teaching.
Ah, nice.
Because we're the top teaching bloggers, so it'll always be some of the bloggers getting on and leading conversations. So that went really well. That was exciting. I am a national fellow with Hope Street Group this year. So we are working in collaboration with the Department of Ed on researching teacher prep programs, kind of what the best practices are going to be. So leading focus groups and research kind of around the country with that. And then for ASCD, I am on their, I think it's influencers group. So it's kind of legislative arm of things, kind of talking about the leadership and advocacy and those kinds of things. So just a lot going on. It's exciting.
Wow. That's really cool. Off topic, Megan, but I want to ask you this. In very briefly, can you explain to our audience, what do you mean by a Twitter chat?
Yeah, so exactly. So on Twitter, if you use a hashtag before a term, not only can it be cute and funny, but it will help you to search that term. So for example, you see the hashtag on here, EduLive. Well, if I searched hashtag EduLive, then everybody that had used that hashtag's conversation would come up in a stream. And what will happen is, say we all decide to get on at the same time, in the same day, and we all use the same hashtag, well, now we can have a conversation. So if I'm leading the conversation, I might say, here's a question, question 1. What do you think some show ideas should be? Hashtag EduLive. And then everybody will respond by putting A1 and their ideas. And then from there, people can go back and forth, respond to other people they see messaging. But it's usually an hour. And how many people decide to get on the chat that night can make it very fast-paced. So I have some friends that lead Ed Therapy, which is a little bit smaller of a chat. And it's very manageable. And then I have some friends that leave Sat Chat on Saturday mornings, and there can be thousands of people on, and it goes very quickly.
And
So,
I want to say that the expertise that you find on these Twitter chats is amazing. So you have all levels of people coming together. So
definitely.
even if you're a beginner, you can't be overwhelmed by it because there's so much expertise and there's so much coming at you that you can actually use, and from all levels of,
And you often start to see the same people kind of on the same ones.
Uh-huh.
So I don't. If friendship might be kind of odd, but you know them and you kind of know their personality or what they do. And then if you hop over to something else and you see them, they're there. I know a girl this summer who is a national fellow with me. We met each other like through Twitter, with a Twitter chat before we ever met in person. So it was kind of neat to see these different things. And you can connect with people that are like kind of the edgy rock stars.
Right.
Which is cool because there's not a lot of other platforms where titles don't matter. And
you are that much smarter for it when you do this, because there's such a huge knowledge base coming at you that your teaching just becomes that much better because of it.
Well, and there's that excitement, just like when you go to a conference and you get really excited about what you're doing, except this is free and I can do it in my PJs.
Yeah. And you don't have to be on camera for it.
That's right. That's a bonus too.
So Kevin, tell us what's going on with you, sir.
Well, this is actually a very, very bittersweet time of year right now for me. For the last 20 years, I've been preparing to go back to school and have that new, fresh beginning. But honestly, it is a new, fresh beginning because I'm starting something new, and it's amazing. I taught for 10 years. I was an administrator for 10 years, and now let's see what my new venture in life is going to take on. Working now as an educational advisor for an ed tech startup company has been very similar to my job as a principal, whereby it's fast-paced. Everyone's doing something different. You make decisions on the run. It's very, very involved with what student learning is. It's involved with what you want to do to make sure that teacher instruction is going to be enhanced. It's all the things I did as a principal, but just in a different realm. And
Right.
It's absolutely amazing how we are connecting. For example, just last week we signed on the Night Zookeeper out of the UK to be part of one of our content providers who has a wonderful writing program. We signed new authors. We have authors that are going to come in and talk to students in classrooms, read books, read stories to them.
Nice.
Imagine you're in a first or second grade classroom, and many of us have taught lessons about what an author is, what an illustrator is. But to have them come into your classroom virtually, have those one-to-one conversations with the students, and talk about their writing, read their book, talk about their illustrations, it's absolutely fabulous. We've also added different science centers out in Australia with Physique Science Lab. We have the Baseball Hall of Fame. There's so many different content level experts that are out there that it kind of brings that old adage of it takes a village to raise a child. Well, now that technology is here, we can reach out to so many different people and be able to bring them into your classroom in so many different ways and avenues that the teacher is now working in a way that they're facilitating back and forth this knowledge. There's so much knowledge out there. It's just a matter of kind of rustling it up, putting it in one place, and being able to have everyone get a piece of it. So Field Trip Zoom has really done that for me, and I'm very excited. And as I said, it is bittersweet that I'm kind of not going back into the classroom, but technically I'm going to be going back into a lot of classrooms with what we're offering in this program and allowing that instructional enhancement. So
that's really cool. And we should mention that some of the programs that you do, Kevin, are free to teachers. So
absolutely. And we also, besides some of the freer programs, we also are putting together a whole donors bank whereby that teachers can come in, look for scholarships and donations that will pay for these trips as well. We've also set up a system of how teachers can do a donors choose. Most of the trips that we offer, on average, costs about $130 to $140. When you think about what it costs to put kids on a school bus and drive them across the town, it's costing you $650.
Right.
Not to mention the time lost in learning, which is the transitional time. And not to mention, you don't get a one-to-one experience many times when you go on those other field trips.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Field Trip Zoom is not trying to put on-ground field trips out of business. It's never going to happen. We are putting an enhancement to these places that students would not be able to see or go to. We have a whole new group that is starting in all of the Central American schools where children that are working and have parents that are working down in Central America are going to be able to have the same experiences as our kids in the mainland. So there's all different ways that we're going to be using Field Trip Zoom, and it's growing, and it's growing at amazing rates and levels. So
that's pretty cool.
Very excited.
Congratulations. And I'm sort of feeling I'm sort of in the same boat as you, Kevin, having taught 15 years and being now 1 year out of teaching and talking to all these amazing educators. It makes me really miss the classroom, and so I'm actually trying to figure out how I can juggle doing this show and be going back to the classroom because I really miss it. So.
But think about the conversations that you have with teachers. Look at the experience we're having right now. We have two wonderful educators with us on the panel right now, and to have these conversations and have other educators out there listening, it still gets you into that piece of what's going on. Even bringing me back to talking about the summer slide and being able to utilize experiences that I've had, there's different ways that you can still remain involved without being in that classroom.
I want to do it all. I'm sorry. Carrie, so tell us about you. What's going on with you? Are you excited about the year?
I am excited about the year. It's the same and it's going to be different. The classroom that I have is the same classroom I've had for many years. The population will be a little bit different in terms that I'll have more students whose parents may not be native English speakers, so that'll be a challenge that I'll try to make sure, to keep the communication up with my parents, and that's different than what I'm used to.
That's a new challenge for you.
Yes, so I've have some ideas for that and how I can make sure the parents are included and they know what's going on with what's happening in my classroom, because when that works, then everything works better for the kids, I started doing some gamification in my classroom last year, so I'm hoping to up that this year and really get into it more. I used it more as a behavior modification system, just because it was new to me, but it worked really well and the kids loved it. So this year I'm hoping to use it as the basis of my behavior modification system, but also start to include bringing in more technology and really incorporating more learning into it versus it just being a motivational thing in terms of incentives and things like that. So that's exciting.
Nice.
I think.
Go ahead.
Are you sure?
No, I was just going to say you're such a 21st century teacher. I love it.
Well, I was dying to do it, and then last year we just dove right into it, and the kids loved it. We did Mario Brothers for a little bit, and that went really well. And then we did Angry Birds, and that was a disaster because it was too hard for me to keep up with it. It was just the wrong system. And then we did Star Wars Opoly, which was a tremendous hit. So we're going to do Monopoly again this year, but with a movie theme, and I'll keep the same game the whole year this time. So we'll start off with it just being just a behavior modification system. They earn points, and they get to play on the board, and they earn different privileges for rolling certain things or buying certain things. And then slowly I'll add bonuses in so that if they do random bonuses, they get things for it. And those bonuses they do are all I make technology-based. So they're doing things and learning things, but they think they're doing it to gain more status on the game board. And then as they play longer in Monopoly, then they'll start to be able to buy properties. We never got into that last year. So that will be a whole other thing too. So it'll be
very cool.
Yeah, it'll be I'm really excited for that. So
how do you not want to go to class? How would you not want to go to class in that kind of classroom? So
it is fun. So it's just trying to balance now, bringing it out of it just being incentive-based and making sure it's connected to learning too, which is what true, motivation and gamification, and having some badges built in so that they're learning without, thinking that they're learning. Like they're posting things on Classroom or writing a blog post because they want to earn something, which is great. But I'm getting what I want, which is them writing more, or learning how to do a piece of technology for me. So.
And we won't have the kids watch this show, so that.
No, that's okay. They start to get it a little bit. Yeah. I'm gonna have mostly boys next year too, so the game factor will be good. Yeah. will be a good buy-in for them. Yeah.
Good call. Good call.
And then I'll just continue to really try to stretch the limits of the technology in our classroom, because with working with the students with special education needs, and it's really making sure I can tap into what their strengths are, and then finding the tools that help them enhance their strengths and compensate for their weaknesses, and really just stretch the limits of what technology can do for them, so they can be as independent as they want to be. And so that'll be my other goal.
Yeah. Megan, do you want to do the shout out to another gamification person?
Yeah, sure. So Stephen Isaacs, it's Mr._Isaacs, is really big into the gamification stuff. He is forever posting things that he's written, things that he's attended, different stuff, and extremely personable. I've met him at like 2 different events just in passing, but that is definitely his heart.
Nice.
Awesome. I will definitely follow him.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you guys, I'm going to go ahead and begin closing, and if there's something else that you guys want to talk about before we go, let me know right now, because I want to talk about briefly about what's coming up. So next time on Tuesday, August 18th, we will have the Going Digital show with Dr. Greg Goins, and he's going to be doing the School Leaders Guide to EdCamp. So that's really cool. That's not to be missed. And Teachers Talk Live is coming back until September 2nd. I'm moving, so hopefully in Boston I can have internet in time for September 2nd, and we will be hitting social media in schools. That's a really important topic, I think. So if you guys could help me, and the audience out there help me as well, in finding experts that can talk in depth about social media. I want to know, I want to know about the Pinterest and how teachers can maximize that. I want to talk more about the the Twitter chats, what we talked briefly with Megan about, and any other social media outlets that there are out there available to teachers. I want to know about them. I want the audience to know about them, and to really start digging in there with that. And then, of course, a few weeks away is September 9th with the bullying topic. So I think that's a really, really important one, and I really want to be able to talk in depth about that and bring in as many experts as possible and some firsthand knowledge of bullying, either as much as possible. So that is what's coming up. So technically, Teachers Talk Live is going on hiatus for a little bit until September 2nd, so I can do my move. Yes, I'm going to Massachusetts. I'm really excited about that. So, you guys, any last words? Anything that you want to add that I might have missed, that we didn't discuss, or anything like that? Let me know right now. Kevin, Carrie, Megan, I think we're good then. I want to thank you guys very much for coming on to our premiere episode of Teachers Talk Live, and we will be coming back September 2nd. So stay tuned and tweet out with the hashtag EduLive, EDU Live. So thank you very much for watching.
Tune in to our live interactive video programs every Wednesday at teachcow.com. And if you would like to become a panelist on our show, we welcome you to contact us through teachcow.com. Thank you very much.